Assalamu alaikum students. Hope you all are fine and fit. Do you remember our last session? Yes. Hope you all are waiting for second session of this story of Puru the Brave, right? And all of you are eagerly waiting to know what happened when Puru is presented in front of Alexander. Then let's know students. Let's begin the lesson and know what happened when Puru is when Puru is presented in front of Alexander. A soldier enters and bows to Alexander. Bow means showing respect to king. And he said, "Sir, Puru has been brought to the camp." Means one of the soldier came into the tent where Alexander and his 4 generals were sitting, and he said, "Sir, Puru has been brought to the camp." Then Alexander said, "Has he been put in chains?" For that, soldier said, "Yes, your majesty." Alexander asked, "Has he put in chains?" Then soldier said, "Yes, your majesty." For that, Alexander said, "Go and remove the chains and bring him in. I don't want to see a brave man in chains." Immediately, means Alexander said, "Immediately go and remove the chains and bring him in." And Alexander said, "They should not have put him in chains. He is a king. Besides being a great soldier." Why he kept in chains? Students, the king or soldier who captured during or after the war, who is the winning kingdom, kept them as a prisoners and kept them in chains. But Alexander doesn't want to see Puru in chains. So he ordered his soldier to remove his chains and said, as he is a king, besides being a great soldier. Then the soldier bows and goes out, brings Puru in. Okay, Puru enters with 4 Greek soldiers following him. Alexander and the generals stand up to greet him. Puru joins the palms of his hands and raises them to his forehead to return the greetings. Students, as soon as Puru enters with 4 Greek soldiers, Alexander and his four generals stood up in a way of giving respect to greet him. Puru also joined his 2 pawns to greet them in return. You all know how to say namaste, right? To give respect to them. Even Puru also joined his 2 hands and greet them. Then Alexander said to his soldiers, "You may go." Then the soldiers bowed and went out. Then Alexander started saying to Puru, "Well, how are you, king?" Puru, for that Purushottam said, "My name is Puru." Means he said that, "I am not a king. My name is Puru." Then Alexander said, "All right. Are you sorry for the mistake you made, Puru?" Means, students, this conversation between Alexander and Puru is very interesting. Now keep your attention. Alexander asked Puru, "How are you, king?" Then Puru replied, "I am not king. My name is Puru." For that Alexander says, "All right. Are you sorry for the mistake you made, Puru?" For that Puru said, "I made no mistake, sir." Means what Puru said, "I made no mistake, sir." Though he had fought with Alexander and his army, he was not at all afraid of his question and directly replied to Alexander, I made no mistake, sir. Then Alexander said, didn't you reject my proposal? Then Puru said, I did. I refused to be your vassal. What was the proposal made by the Alexander? Actually, Alexander used to send a type of proposal to the king before he'll do the war. That is, he sent a proposal like, King Purushottam, surrender yourself, kingdom and soldiers to me and become my general. But Purushottam rejected the proposal. Now Alexander asking about that proposal to Puru. For that Puru replied, yes, of course I rejected, because I don't want to be your general. And I don't want my kingdom serving under you. My kingdom should be independent. Then Alexander said, do you know that many kings have gladly agreed to be my vassals? Then Puru said, I know that, and I also know that none of them is Puru. Then Alexander said, do you know that many kings have gladly agreed and simply surrendered themselves to me and their kingdoms? For that Puru replied, I know that, of course I know that, and also know that none of them is Puru. Okay students, how brave he is. For that, first general softly to the second general, he is saying, he is indeed a very proud man. Then Alexander said, first general is saying slowly with the second general, he is indeed a very proud man. Then Alexander said, don't you realize that you are my prisoner? When Purushottam was speaking proudly, in spite of losing the battle, Alexander said, don't you realize you are my prisoner now? Then Puru said, I do, but that doesn't make any difference to me. I am still the lawful king of my country. Puru replied, of course, I accept I am your prisoner, but that doesn't make any difference to me. I am still a lawful king to my country. Then Alexander said, for that Alexander impressed and he asked, how shall I treat you? Then Puru said, as a king should treat another king. When Alexander asked, how shall I treat you? For that Puru said, you should treat me how a king treats another king. Then Alexander said, Puru, you are a brave man. I am pleased with you. I want to make friends with you. Will you be a friend to me? Alexander, impressed with the braveness, attitude and greatness of Purushottam, and he offered his friendship to Puru. Then Puru said, on one condition. Alexander asked, what is that condition? Puru said, then Puru said, my kingdom should remain independent and you should treat me as your equal. Puru said, though I am captured king, my kingdom should remain independent and you should treat me as your equal. For that, Alexander said, agreed. After a pause, I am proud of your friendship, my brother. After thinking for a few minutes, Alexander said, "Agreed," and honored Puru by calling him brother. For that, Puru said, "I'll do my best to be worthy of the friendship of Alexander the Great." Here, finally, Puru said, "I'll do my best to be worthy of the friendship friendship by saying Alexander, means by calling Alexander as Alexander the Great." Okay, students. Then the generals bowed to Alexander and Puru. Why generals bowed to Alexander and Puru? Because Alexander agreed Puru to be equal. Both Alexander and Puru should get equal respect, so they bow. This is the story of a great Indian king, Purushottama Raju. Students, hope you understood, right? How Puru, with his courage, braveness and greatness, he impressed opposition king Alexander. Let's stop here and we'll continue our class in next session. Till then, thank you, Allah Hafiz, and have a nice day.